Welcome back, everybody. Just as promised in the previous episode, here we are in San Francisco, trying out FlyByWire's Airbus A380. This is the development version, not the stable version. But I've already got the flight deck almost all set up with flight on to Seattle. Estimated time en route 1 hour and 27 minutes at flight level 400. So we should be getting underway here shortly. I thought I would just take a quick tour around the aircraft because just because of its size is so very impressive. I thought it'd be just an interesting thing to do. So let's uh, let's get to it and just look at how big everything is on this massive machine. No strut, tires, just very impressive. Speaking of tires, as we come around the side, the trucks that are on the inside, the two aft trucks on the inner on the inboard landing gear, just like that's not right, and that is not fly-by-wire's fault. That is a Microsoft Asobo issue, a floating pylon. Anyway, interesting. Those two aft trucks, they do articulate to mean that they move, and I'll get that in just a moment. These ailerons, however, are very interesting. For those of you that don't know, A380, the ailerons on both wings are technically three ailerons in one, and you can see that depicted here very well. Um, if you really want to see them in action, moving independent of each other in a way, because of the unique fly-by-wire uh, program that is on the A380. You should look up a video on YouTube. If I find one, I'll post it below. But look for an A380 video on YouTube of a passenger seated on the wing, so you can see the ailerons move, and in particular, you can see them move uh, during takeoff and approach. So those two phases of flight, you can really see them moving up and down, again, independently of each other, and it's a fascinating thing to watch. But at any rate, let's keep on walking around to the tail, and everything looks good. I believe that the top of that tail is 5.5 or 6 stories above the ground, the back end of the wing. Considering all the other aircraft that come with Microsoft License 2024, and considering that this airplane is freeware, it knocks every aircraft in that comes with Microsoft License 2024 out of the water. It is unreal. Anyway, these two aft trucks, like I said, you can see the orange axle, if you will, on both of them. Those are the two trucks that move in opposite of the nose gear. So as you're coming around a turn, again, this is when you're obviously when you're taxiing, not not when you're airborne. They turn opposite of the nose gear to help you get around tight turns and whatnot. Hello, thank you very much for that. And we are parked at a heavy gate, which I don't know why they have a road here in San Francisco going right over where a large aircraft would be parked. At any rate, yeah, these two aft trucks, they do move. Like I said, they articulate opposite of the nose gear to help you get around those tight turns. And in particular, when you go to line up on a runway, which is almost always a 90-degree turn. Looking at the right wing, everything looks good here. As we walk in between these very, very large Rolls-Royce Trent 1000s here. And like I said, it's for a freeware aircraft. This is well worth your time to just look into it. It with regard to functionality, it beats anything that comes with Microsoft License 2024. It's not even close. Not even close. So let's get in. For those of you that have never seen the flight deck of a 380, here we are. I do have the tablet here on the left synced to SimBrief, so I can simply download the flight plans very easily. And then just give it a once over and then input the performance data. At this point, one note I do want to make, the V speeds and the performance and the other performance data here on the that I have pulled up on the right MCDU. As of yet, they do not automatically sync, so you do have to input your V speeds manually. Your takeoff, flex, temperature, you have to input that stuff on your own. But there's good news for those of you that utilize SimBrief. After you generate the flight, and you click on the left-hand side of the screen, click on performance, a runway, well, it's a depiction of a runway, comes up after you type in, after you give it the aircraft model, where the airport you're at, and the runway. And then you simply type in the gross takeoff weight, in this case 419,500 kilos. And then it automatically calculates your V speed. So V1 in this case is 140, rotate is at 152, and V2 is at 157. And it also calculates your your temperature for a flight takeoff for San Francisco today, and that is the flex is 66 degrees centigrade, or for those of you in other countries that don't say centigrade, Celsius. And that is that. The flight plan, like I said, I've inputted manually one time, and this time as I said, I linked it with my Navigraph SimBrief account, and everything transferred in beautifully. There is a discontinuity, and that's only because I don't know quite yet how the approach in Seattle is going to really work. We'll figure that out once we get up to our cruise altitude today, which is going to be it's supposed to be 40, as I said before. Yeah, flight level 400. And we'll get into changing. It's actually very, very simple if we do have to make any kind of amendments to the flight plan, like a change to an altitude for a navigational fix, or a change on speed. It's very, very simple to do. It does, you'll see how intuitive the system really is, and again, a major shout out to the people at FlyByWire for doing such an amazing job so far. Very, very, very impressive. And again, freeware, which makes it even more impressive. So, everything's checked out. We are running on APU power, which means we need to disengage the external power. So let's do that, and we do that over here on the tablet. Click on the, so it looks like a blue tail. Oh, sorry about that. Click on the little truck insignia. Oh, I thought that's what you did. Hang on, I've only flown this aircraft takeoff to touchdown once before. Twice, that is. Let me look here real quick. Yeah, I was right. Sorry. Double check that we are taking APU electricity real quick, and then we'll be on our way. AC power is coming from APU. Yeah, both generators on APU, both giving off 115 volts, but 0 on the percentage. Let's look at DC power. DC APU is not being utilized. Huh, it should be. Let's see here, electrical power. Turn on APU generator. Yeah, it's up and running, I believe. Yeah, it's up and running. Oh, I see what the difference. Okay, that's because we're still running off of the 4 external power. Okay, got it. I see what they're doing. That's what you get when you're listening to a person who is more of a Boeing individual. All right. Good. Pull engines up here. And we can now firmly say that the ground power can go away. And if you want to look at what our payload situation is, our fuel, there it is right there. Very nicely balanced. And as you can see, we also, it's just like in the 747, we have fuel in the tail. The MD-11, that is also a big time favorite of mine as fuel in the tail. And just like the MD-11, they call it your trim fuel, and you don't have to think about it because it's automated, but it's there for reasons of center of gravity and just making sure that the aircraft is properly balanced. And you'll see it because right now it's at 10,500 kilos. As we take off and level off, you'll see how it begins to get pumped into the wing tanks and vice versa. Payload, here we go. It decided to give us almost a full load tonight. Today. 471 passengers, 11,750 kilos in cargo. So we're somewhat heavy, and we are ready for pushback. But let's go back to our checklist real quick. Let's see here. We gotta get the beacon on. Everything else is good to go. Okay, beacon goes on. And we are APU, please. No mobile, meaning all personal, all cell phones and things of that nature need to be in airplane mode. Seatbelts and parking brake. All right, let's hook up the. Look at the parking brake here in just a sec. Yeah, we know that already. And the beacon is on. Alright, let's go to the pushback. Parking brake is on, not anymore. And waiting for the tug to be attached. It says that's already attached. I don't think it is. Let's double check. That's what I thought. So we're just gonna wait for the tug to, oops, sorry. Zoomed in just a little too much. And there we go. Alright, tug is attached. Let's go. That's right, tug speed. That should be approximately the right angle here. And if you're wondering about the control surfaces such as rudder, elevators, ailerons, as soon as the engine's just one engine gets up and running, the hydraulics on the Airbus will all come alive, so to speak. So are we gonna be good with that angle of turn? I think so. I will say that the exterior model, texturing and all of that, is just very, very impressive. Okay, let's see if we can speed up the tug just a little bit more. I don't want to be unrealistic, but time is a factor here. And we're almost there. And then we'll... Boy, those vans, they really don't care what's going on, do they? Alright. Almost. I believe the tug ends up doing its own thing here in just a moment anyway, if I have to guess. Just want to make sure we don't run into anything. Because there is one thing that I have noticed in the Microsoft license 2024, it doesn't really care. Sometimes it just kind of makes its own determination as to what hits, what allows it to. Okay, parking brake. And we're just waiting for the pin to be removed. Although technically there's no pin, it's the newer tug that grabs the wheel and lifts the nose gear off the ground just a little bit. Alright, and there it goes. Thank you. We can see it off our left side. Thank you very much. We'll see you later. Alright, pushback system on. Yeah, we no longer require it. That's our checklist. Alright, let's go ahead and get these engines up and running. And on the A380, for those of you that are somewhat familiar with Airbus aircraft, the 320, the 320 family, the 330 family, 340 family, the engines are knob, if you will, is just aft of the throttle quadrant. In this case, it's on the overhead. So we're gonna go ahead and do two at a time because we can. Just like the 747, it has a very powerful APU, and it gives us the ability to do two engines at one time. So let's monitor the start. And one rotation already, which is a good thing to do. Okay. comes the fuel. There we go. Just waiting for it to stabilize. As you can see, engine number 3 is in reverse. That is a glitch that I have found, as a lot of people have found. And the only way to get it out of it, even though the reverse thrust is, as you can see, the reverse thrust is not engaged at all. We simply move the throttles up a little bit. I mean, just a little bit. And then the reverse comes out. Let's see how far I can get here before it kicks back in again. Okay, right about there. Alright, let's do engines 1 and 2, and we'll be ready to taxi after that. While we wait, we'll go ahead and input flaps 1. They do sound differently than Boeing, as a very, what's the word I want? Unique, high pitch sound. And we do need to make one change on the THS here. It needs to be 40.5, not 40.27. Okay, engines are available. And we have good engine starts. Very good. Alright, checklist. That is good. Our anti-ice does not require pitch trim. We've got that already taken care of. Rudder trim is neutral. Do flight controls. The weather radar, by the way, does not function. So, but I'll show you that. We will get into that anyway. Let's look at flight controls. All the way to the left. Good. Neutral. All the way to the right. Good. Neutral. All the way back. Good. Neutral. All the way down. All 4 elevators neutral, and both rudders all the way to the left. Good. Neutral. There we go. Don't know what was going on there for a second. Let's go one more time. All the way left. Neutral. All the way to the right. And neutral. Alright. And takeoff config. Supposed to be up here. That's interesting. It's supposed to come on. No, we don't need a checklist. We don't need. Oh, I think I know why. You gotta hit that, then takeoff config. Well, that is interesting. Clear everything out. Now it'll give us a takeoff config. There we go. Alright, spoilers. Okay. Arm spoilers. Auto brake RTO. TO config to S. So one more time. And pass. We are good to go. Just make sure we got the taxi lights set for taxi. Strobe light auto. Logo auto. Nav beacon on solid. Very good. We no longer need the APU. And let's move this to norm, meaning normal. And let's begin the taxi out to the runway. This will be the most boring part of the flight is taxiing, because the international arrivals for heavy jets here in San Francisco is kind of towards the back of the terminal building. Okay, don't need it that much to get us going, but let's watch it outside, because the exterior camera system is not functioning, which is alright. I don't even think PMDG is going to be modeling that once they release the 777-300ER. It's I don't think the sim can support it. If I remember right, it just doesn't end up looking good, so something of that nature. It's a little tricky playing with the two inboard engines, because if you not dip, but if you lower if you bring your throttles back just enough, the reverse thrust kicks in immediately. So it's kind of situation that you just have to play with a little bit to make sure you're not gonna activate reverse thrust. And at the same time, you don't want to be going beyond 20 knots in your taxi either. So it's kind of a dance you go through, so to speak. So TCAS is on standby. I don't know why that would be, because I already programmed it for to be in auto mode. As soon as we get around this, we'll bring up the surveillance page on the MCDU and check out what the deal is there. Bring those throttles back gently. See that? I barely touch it, and the inboards want to go into reverse thrust. So I barely touched it. Barely. Alright, let's go into surveillance here. Let's see, TARA. There we go. Alright, now it's up and running. Very good. Back to FMS. Well, it would be nice if, I don't know what Iberia is doing here. That Airbus, that belongs in Spain, not San Francisco. And it'd be nice if those Boeing aircraft had an airline paint job on it. EasyJet, what's that doing all the way over here in San Francisco? Shouldn't that be in England or somewhere in where they're based, or at least somewhere in Western Europe? Spirit, okay, there's one carrier that you might see in San Francisco. So looks like this next update that they're working on, that they continue to delay, looks like they got a lot to work on, a lot to fix. Alright. But anyway, with regard to this airplane, just really, really impressed. I mean, again, it's freeware, and it functions so much better than any of the wide bodies in that comes with Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. I mean, it's just really impressive. This is the 4K version, not the 8K. Crossing runway 119, or I should say 0119. And I will say the sound, this is a sound package that comes with it. If you've ever flown Airbuses in real life, you hear the bumps and whatnot. They've got it down. It's very impressive. Back to flying air. Just when you get into the heavier aircraft, um, that is where checklists come in real handy. Let's do right. Yeah, we got that. Radar, well, it doesn't really work, but we'll say it does. And seat belts. Let's make sure we got centerline air coming up on this little turn. We'll do the lineup checklist as well. See, and the other reason that we're only going to be utilizing flaps 1 is because, number one, even though, yeah, there a lot of passengers are on board, um, the wind today is not going right down the middle of the runway, but it's pretty much sustained at 22 knots. So we're going to have a lot of air moving over those wings. So we don't need a whole lot of assistance in generating the lift. So flaps 1 will be sufficient. And they claim they're working on the wave action to have the waves simulated with the wind. And yeah, I guess that's pretty close to what it would look like on a windy day like this. See the windsock, or I should say in this case windsocks. Yeah, it's a pretty good wind, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Once we get in the air, we'll go through all the different pages to show you what is what. And this is mainly just me testing it out. Now, why that terrain out there looks like blocks, I have no idea. I do know Microsoft has been having some server issues. Well, that's bizarre. That should have gone up to flight level 40 square. Now, why it didn't do that? And then before we begin to cross to a left, we'll stop and get everything turned on here. Let's go through that takeoff checklist one more time. Make sure it's set. Let's hang on real quick. Alright, what do we need? Seatbelt signs, those are on. Ground spoilers armed. Takeoff flaps set. Auto rate RTO To copy test we did, and we are good. Lineup checklist here. Have eyes, cabin crew. Alright, well, let's go ahead and just do it for kicks. We'll do it this way. There we go. Everybody is notified. And let's turn on lights here. Strobes will come on automatically. And we are go for takeoff. Takeoff runway, cabin crew, phase 1 and 2 on, which they are. Departure change, which there won't be, but we'll just leave it at that. We are go for takeoff. Alright, just release the brakes. Should begin to roll automatically. Go ahead and arm the auto throttle. Okay, that'll be something we do in the air. Should be able to arm it right now, but I guess not. Alright. Make sure that this speed, just in case something goes wrong, we're going to set this to 157, which is our V2 speed, aka our safety speed. Minimum maneuvering speed as well. Alright. We'll turn on the timer on the yoke here. See if we can actually make it in 1 hour and 27. We will be landing to the south up in Seattle because the winds are out of the southwest. So that'll eat into our time just a little bit. But see here, those aft trucks moving, if you can see those. Yep, there they are. Alright. I took that turn just a little too wide, but that's alright. Alright. And let's stand them up. Okay, 4 good motors. And here we go. There's rotate right there. You can definitely feel the wind. That is some stiff wind rate. Positive rate gear up, please. Auto throttle came on automatically. That's a nice little feature. And once we're up, we are plenty high enough for that. So here we go into our turn. And it's going to be asking us to turn to reduce our thrust to climb thrust here so that the auto throttle can take over. Right there it is. So the best way to do it is to look at them. Let's come back to climb mode. There we go. Parking brake. Well, that's because of Microsoft right there. That's not a problem with this airplane whatsoever. And slats retract, please. Flaps up. And there we go. And ground spoilers, we can disarm that. No longer required. Got it. Alright. 250 knots. Yeah, I mean, which is right, don't go above 250 when you're below 10,000 feet. Let's see how accurate it can do that. This will be interesting to watch, especially with a windy day like this. I'm gonna assume that the wings are flapping out there pretty good. Let's take a look. That's what I thought. Is it too cloudy to see the Golden Gate Bridge? There it is. There it is. The Golden Gate Bridge. But, yeah. Yeah, the way they've designed it, the wings absorb a lot of the turbulence. And, that's why when we get back into flight deck, you cannot even tell that we have any turbulence whatsoever. So maybe they'll update that in the next round, whenever they release the next developers dev update. We'll see. And I believe it's safe enough to expand the range here just a little bit. And now we can briefly talk about the, alright, we're going to the deadhead transition, and then from there on to the RBLVOR. And then after that, we're going to be looking at our arrival, the STAR, Standard Terminal Arrival, into Seattle already. But that's about another half hour. Keeping in mind the flight is roughly 90 minutes. It would be a little less than 90 minutes if the wind was out of the north in Seattle. But, alright, there we go, 10,000 feet. Landing lights come off. Nose, we'll just leave them in the takeoff position because they're automatic. They're only on when the landing gear is lowered. 20 degrees in the flight deck. On the lower panel there, 20 degrees. See that? Little cool. We can adjust that. There we go. Up it just a little bit. Alright. Let's make one very, very important note. If you select this to standard, which is what you're supposed to do when you get above 18,000 feet or above, if you do, you cannot get it out of standard setting. So just as soon as we reach 18,000, I'm simply going to dial it down to 29.92, which is what standard really is when you calibrate the altimeter. But found that one out the hard way. But again, for a freeware aircraft that's still in development, I mean that's a fairly negligible thing to complain about. If you bleed, oh okay, yep. Got it. Very good. No problem. Let's show you the back to the weather radar to show you what would work. So we go into you exit the FMS. And you go to the SURV, which is short for surveillance. We go to that page, and as you can see, weather in orange. I cannot even select any of these. Auto, I cannot. Even if I click on weather off, it doesn't do anything. Predicted wind shear, turbulence, gain, mode, weather on the vertical display, which should be right in this area here. None of that is working, so there's nothing I can do with regard to that being on the checklist. Departure change, in case we did one, we'll just say everything is complete. Approach, again, that barrel reference that I was talking about. Are we at 18 yet? Almost. Same thing with the standby. For some odd reason, they have yet to, let me look if it's in the menu. The menu button doesn't work. Oh, I see, it's resetting itself. That's not great. But even if you click on mode, it just gives you the menu. Yeah. Because what I would like to do is change this over to inches instead of hectopascals. As you can see, it's flashing at us underneath the speed tape on the PFD. So again, we're not going to put standard, we're just going to set the 29.92. And it'll just flash, and sorry, just we want to be able to accurately input the altimeter barometric pressures when we are coming into Seattle, instead of having it set at standard and not being able to bring it out of standard. 1013 on standby, because that is what standard is in hectopascals. All right, let's show you this here. I guess we're on our way up, so we can deploy the footrest. Pretty cool, huh? All right, it's a tough life being an airline pilot. I'll tell you what, it's a tough life. All right, let's go back to the FMS. ATC-COM does not work, not yet implemented, but something tells me it will be as soon as looks like this one might work. D8 is, well, at least you can see in the background what it would look like here. Requesting a flight plan, report, notify something, message is recorded. But the D8 that'll be really slick. Emergency, I wonder if it works. Yeah, okay, that's fine. SCU backup, I don't believe this works either. I may be wrong about that. Yeah, not yet implemented. Okay, that's cool. FMS 1, which is us. Very good. And let's, like I said, I like to leave the flight plan up so we can change it as we need to. I know QNH 29.92. I know it's flashing at us under the speed tape here on the left. But again, I learned my lesson on that one. All right, where is the sun coming in? Is it coming direct? Let me see if we can block it just a little bit by. Is that going to do anything for us? No, that's all right. What I will say is I have flown this once when the sun was coming through this windscreen as well as this one, and it really blocks out the sun in a very realistic fashion here. I mean, it really does, and I'll pull this one down. Very good. But that is not the case, not required. Yep, you're covered. You're always covered. Oh, I see. Looks like I'll have to get out of my seat and walk back there in order to stow it. We'll do that here. But once we get to our cruise altitude, see, let's increase the temperature just a little bit more. Yeah, looking good. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and expand our navigation display out to 120. And do remember, as always, if you are the pilot flying in the left seat, then you have the weather radar on your side, on your nav display, and that goes for any aircraft, Boeing, Airbus, Embraer, etc. The pilot not flying, so in this case the FO, terrain is what goes on their navigation display. So go ahead and expand that out to 120 as well. So yeah, it's looking good. Yeah, looking good. And we can go ahead and put the information, not the constraint. I mean no. Well, the VOR arrows, like, you can input those if you want. It just simply keeps track of the nearest VOR with the needles, so you can see where that is. But anyway, a lot of people ask about the following, so I'm going to go ahead and go in there. And that is, make sure we're cruising at a good, okay. Alright, let's talk about the performance figures here. Well, with regard to takeoff, the TO shift input right here. See that TO shift? Let me zoom in a little bit more for those of you on a mobile device. Alright, TO shift. That is, you only utilize that field if you're not taking off at the beginning of a runway. So if you're taking off on a runway that has a displaced threshold, then you would input a number there. So the one runway that immediately comes to mind is the really long one at JFK. I believe that runway, somebody out there will correct me, and that's fine if you do, I appreciate it. I believe that runway is just over 14,500 feet. And a lot of the time, they're not using it, and or the tower says, instead of going all the way to Alpha, take off at, I think it's Delta or Echo. So then you simply look at your takeoff performance sheet, and that is where that number would be, and that is the number you would input right here. How do I calculate the flex? The temperature for a flex takeoff with regard to our takeoff thrust? I did not do that. That was all done by SimBrief. But again, along with the V speeds, V1, VR, V2, Um, SimBrief does a great job at calculating that for you, and that's also where you'll find that. If I said that back at the gate, my apologies for being repetitive. As you can see, flaps for takeoff, like I said before, we only needed flaps set to 1, and the THS percentage for that for particular input, that was over. Well, okay, if you can see up here on the navigation display, to the left on the PFD, that black space on the bottom right of the PFD, whatever that number was, I think it was in this flight, I think it was 41.5 or, oh, right there, 40.5, 40.5, that's what I typed in right here. Okay. The packs, for takeoff, I decided to leave the packs on. When would you utilize packs off? You would do that if you're flying, what's a good one? Dubai, when it's really hot, really hot, and you need all the thrust you can possibly have, you can possibly need. So places like Dubai and oh, what's another good one? For a good example, where have I seen them? Mexico City, when it's brutally hot there. Where else have I seen there? Miami, there's a great example. Houston, LAX, and Hong Kong, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth. That's a really good example. Anyway, airports like that, whenever it's just miserably hot during the hot months, you would want to do a pass off, and then once you get airborne with this aircraft, just like in the MD-11, they'll automatically come back on once you get airborne, and but that's when you would do that. Anti-ice, obviously there wasn't any ice or snow or frozen or sleet or frozen pellets falling from the sky, so nothing with regard to ice. TU shift up here, just again, one note, I don't know if I mentioned or not, it is not simulated yet, to the best of my knowledge, but I did already tell you what it's for, and that's if you're not utilizing the entire length of the runway and you're taking off with a displaced threshold. That is the performance page. Let's go into, let's double check our altitude real quick. How are we doing? Mach 0.84? Not bad. Not bad at all. Just looking at how we're doing. Yeah, believe it or not, this is a unique flight plan. The two airports are just close enough, and not just that, but they are also, they both have, well, Seattle in particular, the STAR, Standard Terminal Arrival, begins way to the south of the actual airport of SeaTac, Seattle Tacoma International Airport. And the entry point, aka transition, it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to someone who flies for JetBlue, they call it, like Kurt, if you're watching, he's captain on the 320 and the 321. He utilizes the word entry point. I've always been used to using the word transition. Uh, it's the same thing, but anyway, if you look on our navigation display, LMT right here, that is our transition into the arrival, which is the what's the name of it again? It is the and don't worry, FlightAware, they get their, I'm sorry, SimBrief, they get their information from FlightAware with regard to flight plans. The Hawks 7 arrival, so we are already, as we speak, now turning to the entry point, aka transition, for the Hawk 7 arrival into Seattle. We are already that far away. We're not even to our cruise yet. We'll be topping off here and leveling off here in just a sec. Let's watch. Let's see how well it levels off. Because if you've watched the disastrous video that I did on the 737 MAX 8 that comes with the sim, it has a little bit of a difficult time leveling off at the proper altitude that you have preset. It has a difficult time holding the speed big time. It has a very, very hard time holding that speed. And so the speed ape, if I remember right, in the Max that comes with the sim, the auto throttle is just really bad on that airplane. I mean, really bad. I don't know why they released it that way. That aircraft has so many shortcomings. It's really a shame that they released it that way. Let's see how this captures flight level 400. See if it does it nice and accurate. Yeah, not bad. It nailed it. Very, very realistic. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, just, I don't know why it was in takeoff, the thrust setting over here. It was in takeoff mode, and now it's going back into climb mode. I don't know why we gotta fly at 0.84 when we can easily go 0.85. Let's change that right now. Let's go into performance here, which is where we're already at. Let's do, how do we change what we want to do here? Oh, I see. It's right. They upped it to 0.5 automatically. Oh. Alright. I'll take that. I thought it was back at the gate. I thought it was automatically set to 0.84, which I was fine. It was fine with me because of the altitude, 40,000 feet. All right, no complaints there. So if we look at the, let's see, what else can we look at here? We can look at our descent profile. It's going to be automatically managed. It'll be beginning our descent. It'll slow down, and it'll back off down to 0.4, begin the descent. And that's fine. Approach. Are we too far away to do it? Here's one thing that we will do. Let's compare the the weather here. Let's compare it to what FlightAware has to say. So let's take a look. FlightAware. For those of you wondering how I do it, the way I do it is I just hop on my phone. I've got the FlightAware app on my phone, and that way it's just very quick and easy. Okay, let's look at the pull off the METR at Seattle and just compare notes. Okay, 19. All right, the as of 2056 Zulu, FlyByWire is saying as of 2053, so 3 minute difference, no big deal. 270. I'm sorry, the FlyByWire 22010, and that's saying 270 to 18, gusting 27. Huh. I wonder if we can get that thing to refresh. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong airport. My bad. That's embarrassing. Sorry. That is really, really embarrassing. Alright, let's look at this here. 220. Yep. Okay, time is lining up 220 at 10 knots. Beautiful. Our visibility and 19, let's see here, 19, and temperature is 19, dew point is 6, altimeter 2992. Well, there we go. As long as it stays 2992, we won't have to adjust the altimeter up here. We'll just leave it at 2992. That worked out. That worked out pretty nicely. That never happens. Let me just, pardon me everybody, I just got a text message here that I do have to respond to. Let's see here. We have a farm, and where we raise cattle, and I'm just getting an update as to what's going on out there. If you do want to see anything about a farm, grass-fed beef, just a side note, shameless plug on my part. If you do, let me know. A calf was born just 3 days ago, so I did take a couple of photographs, which is why I haven't been online here in a few days. If you want to see pictures of, it's a female, a little girl. If you want to see photographs, let me know and I'll put them up here and you can check it out. But let me respond to the text here. Hang on a sec, and I'll be right back here in the 380. Let's see here. Let's get back to comparing METR on FlightByWire. I'm going to assume that the sim downloads, I should say, one more text. Alright, good. Alright, let's just go over that again one more time. So to get the date, the second, yep, 2053 Zulu, yes. Winds, 220 10 knots, bingo. Visibility, 10 statute miles, yes, they sink. And it's got some scattered clouds of 14,000, yep. Perfecto mundo right there. Temperature 19, dew point 6. Yep, and again, altimeter 2992. beautiful. It syncs up perfectly with FlyByWire because that's where they get their information. Very, very good. Could not be happier. That is a very, very, and again, this is a freeware airplane. Airplane. I mean, think of it. It just doesn't get any better than that. I mean, they do such an amazing job. I do not have their A320, but if it's anything like this, I'll do a video on it. That's phenomenal. If this flight works out well, um, I will definitely do a live stream here in just a little bit, and do like a transatlantic. A lot of people seem to like those types of flights. Done them many, many times, but never on YouTube. Um, it's just that those flights, transatlantic flights, are so long. I don't know whether or not to film the whole flight and bore everybody to death, or just do some editing with the video and make it only maybe 2.5 to 3 hours. But I'm gonna leave that up to you. Drop a comment below, and you tell me if you'd like to see the transatlantic done in a edited format, or if you'd like to see the whole thing without any editing. Without editing, and since this aircraft is working so well, I would go ahead and do it. I'll tell you this: if somebody leaves a comment and says, "Yeah, I'd like to see it done transatlantic," I will take it up a notch. Not that it's a big deal, but I will do that flight on VATSIM, and hopefully both Gander and Shannon are online and working, so we can take advantage of the North Atlantic track and do position reporting at each latitude and longitude waypoint. I think it'd be fun to do. I do think it'd be fun to do. Alright, let's just go through the systems. We'll be looking at the lower ECAM page here. Oh, that's right. I was going to contemplate on whether or not to put the weather data in for Seattle. I can't imagine because we have how much time remaining on this flight? Yeah, we're 34 minutes in. I can't imagine them kicking out another METAR between now and then. So let's just go ahead and do it. Then we'll get back to the ECAM page, I promise. Okay, wind direction. Come on. There we go. Wind direction, where was it? 220. Enter. And the speed is 10. Temp 19. QNH, like I said, 2992. Gotta love it. 2992. Alright. And the barrow, what is the, let me look at the chart for that runway here. Let me look that up real quick on VATSIM. We're going to be using 16 center. Why are we doing that? Well, for some reason, 16 right, 34 left has a bit of an issue, and that is it has a really steep, at least on my install. I don't know about all of you. On my end, it has a really not even a slope in the runway. It's more like a trough. I mean, it's a well, I'll call it an um, exaggerated slope in the middle. And what it can do is it can literally cause the aircraft to crash. And Microsoft, they really don't want to take any responsibility for it. They just blame it on your internet connection, and then they want to know what your internet connection is. And I tell them, well, in my case, it's about 500 megabytes per second. And then they come back and say, well, that's not quite the actual speed. What was that all about? What was that beeping noise about? Or was it just me? Because nothing negative is going on. As soon as I get this data, we'll look at the outside here. Minimums. Let's see here. Let's see, what is the weather here again? 10 statute miles. Scattered clouds of 14,000. Alright, we'll just do, let's see, what is airport elevation? 400, okay. Let's just do, let's just do 800 for now. On the barrel. Sound good? Good. In fact, let me look at one more thing before I make a final decision on what the minimums need to be. Okay. Looking at one thing here. I'm just looking at one little thing here. Okay. 200 above ground level. Well, we don't need it to be. 200 again. Alright. We'll just do 200 and leave it at that. So we'll do 200, but we're gonna do it on the radio, not the. We'll do 200 instead. It should pop up on the PFD here in just a moment. 200. It should override the barrel. Yep, which it did. So if you look above the speed to ape on the PFD, you'll see radio 200, meaning that'll be our decision height. So 200 feet AGL is what we're going to be doing. Alright. Like I said, let's take a look outside, see what it looks like. looks awful good if you ask me. Looks really really good. Attention to detail and the reflections on the wing, everything is just done very very well. The minor, very minor fluttering on the wingtips, that's just very well done. And on the engines, can you see through the bypass part of the engines here? Yeah, look at that. Yep, that is just really really impressive. So again, everybody out there, fly-by-wire, you guys have done a superb job. I mean, you've really knocked it out of the park. It's amazing that it's not payware. It's just really something. I mean, the contrails are, yeah, everything is, everything's great. Again, for freeware, could not be happier. Phenomenal job. Let's see, how far away are we from our top of descent? Almost 160 miles out. Okay, that's fine. Oh yeah, what about that visor? Alright. Okay. Oh, huh. The FO. Where did the FO go? That's alright. Let's see if we can do this while in flight. I don't think I've ever done this before. While in flight. Let's see here. Reach over and get it. There we go. Well, since we're now that we're back here, everybody, let's see. Jump seat to our left. Should be a couple on the right. Okay, one right here. It looks a little more comfortable than the one on a 737, if you ask me. Okay, CD-ROM for running doing maintenance or an update. Oxygen masks for the jump seat occupants. Live vest. See how far back can I walk without going into the cabin. Let's go walk backwards here just a little bit more. Get us a couple. Oops. Let's take a look at. Yeah, there we are. Very impressive. Just really, really impressive. Let's see, looks like the sunlight is beginning to come in on my side of the the flight deck here. Is it? Let's see, it's kind of blocking the FMS here. Let's see if this does this helps. No, it's coming in from up here. No, must be coming in from the right here. Let's see if we can figure this out real quick. And then we'll plug in the numbers for the arrival. See if it's coming from up there at all. No, must be coming in from right above us, above the middle pillar, I guess. All right, let's get back to work. Let's look at that. Let's look at the flight plan. Alright, I I do know that we need to cross. Let's see here. We definitely need to cross. Let's see. BTG Battleground VOR. Fly low 240. So let's look at BTG here. Alright. Let's just double check that. As for the aircraft to have an incorrect value like that, that's pretty far off from what the chart shows. No, it mandates 240, whether or not you're landing to the north or the south. Yeah. Alright. 240, and after that things begin to tighten up a little bit, I do believe. Yes, and yes. Alright. Okay. Let's see if we can get a total velocity vector. Yeah, that's nice to have. Alright. So in order to change that, it's very simple. We click on I would like to see where we are on the bigger map there. One more time. Point information come up. Unfortunately, it's all cluttered. Alright. It definitely, I'm just looking at the chart one more time. Don't want to make a mistake here. BTG 50240 period. Okay. Hawks will be 270 at 12,000. Alright, 240 at 240 and go. Yep. For those of you wondering what this means, TMPY F-PLN, that means temporary flight plan. So insert temporary flight plan, insert here. So our top of descent changes right there. And with regard to Hawks, that's the next one we do have to amend. We gotta be 270 at 12,000. So it's got a speed right, but it's got the altitude wrong. So we gotta be, it already knows, yeah, so we just gotta tell it at or above. No, this is gonna be at 12,000. There's no ambiguity with that one either. And the other reason I'm doing this, even though technically when I look at the chart, it could be at or above, is it? No, it's pretty certain. It would say at or above. Even if it didn't, here's why I would not do that. This is a very, very heavy jet, right? Second, what goes along with that, the potential difficulty given the winds and or wind, regardless of winds and or lack thereof, you've got to give the airplane of this size room to slow down, and you don't want to overshoot anything. So that's why we're going to err on the side of caution. The next one, pikes, let's see what that's got us doing here. Uh, 250 at That's interesting. Let's see here. What about Hawks? It doesn't say anything about that, of course. Let me just look at here. Yeah, let's see. On track cross spikes between 12,000 and 15,000, 250. On track 001 to Cove A. Yep, I know that. Then on to Breve. Alright, 250 at 12. 250 at 10. Alright. Got it. That's already there. And Breve 250 at 10. That is correct. Although I don't want to do a speed bust under 10, so let's change this to 245, alright? Does everybody agree with that one? Yes? Okay, good, everybody agrees. 245. We just don't want to do a bust below 10,000. Alright, let's go back to where we were. And let's look at that. Let's go ahead and set this up for 12. Actually, all the way down to 10,000 here. Guess we will be descending shortly. In about 40 miles. Okay, 40 nautical miles. Alright, let's look down here again. Pike Scope A is good. Breve is 250, 245 now. Nets, where does it want us to be at nets here? 238,000. 230 at, oh, at 8. That's interesting. 238,000, 230 at 8. Yep, it's already in there. Good. Next, K West needs to be 7. 230. Let's see, is that a hard 7,000 or is that one of those at or above? Let me look real quick. Nets. I'm sorry, K West 7,000. Period. Okay. So we'll change this up to 7,000 feet. There we go. And as you can see, it's already in there. It's just the at or above. So we want at, meaning we want to be at K West. We want to be at 7,000. All right. And then Bastion here. 6,000. And that's what we've got. And then comes the approach into 3, 4, 1, 6 enter. Let's look at that chart. Again, FlightWire, wonderful resource when you're flying in North America. If you don't want to spend money every month on Navigraph subscription, I don't, because I don't have time to fly abroad. Therefore, I can only do short flights like this one, and the amount of times that that the database really updates within any given 4 to 6 month period. I mean, they may make a minor update to an arrival or a departure, meaning a star or SID. A few navigational fixes may be renamed and or added or removed. But it's not. They're not making those amendments every single month. You know, they may come out with a revision every, like I said, 6. So that's just what I do. And again, FlightAware has a lot of great resources, and it's a lot easier to navigate. It's very, I should say, it's very, very, very easy to navigate. And are we going to be utilizing Griffey on this? I think I already made that clear. What is our transition into the approach? Is it Griffey? It is. Perfect. Then we'll get rid of the discontinuity. Alright. And then after that, we need to be at, let's see, 4,000. So let's double check that, make sure that's in. Huh. It's not there. Magnum, how close is that to... Oh, great. Too steep. Yeah. Let me look what the winds are doing in Seattle. Let's just update that. I believe the way you would update it is just by retyping it. Let's look at our alternate real quick, which is Portland. Sounded like the engines were spooling up. And they are. Top of descent reached. Well, then why aren't we doing anything about it? It's supposed to automatically do it. Huh. Oh, I see. There we go. I don't know why it took so long for the engines to react before pitching the nose over. I don't know. That's alright, we've got plenty of time to slow down. It's probably gonna want to overspeed, because we do need to cross battleground at 24. I thought that VNAV was already inputted, meaning armed for descent. You see what I mean? If you look at the navigation display up in the, sorry to use a Boeing phrase, FMA, which is above the, on the top of the PFD, flight mode annunciator. 6,100 feet a minute. Wow, that is really steep. That is really steep. How we're able to keep that, I have no idea how we can do that without overspeeding the airframe. Let's add some speed brakes here. Let's kick them out to half. See what that does for us. Does that help us out at all? Nope. Alright, we'll give it all the way here. Full. How about now? Does that help us out a little bit? Let's see what it looks like. Well, for such a large aircraft, it's doing pretty well. Let's set that altimeter altitude pre-select. Let's take it all the way down to Anvil, which is going to be 3,200. Although the go-around altitude is going to be if we have to go missed. Just a little concerned about that too steep of a descent. So we're gonna come in really slow. We're gonna come in even slower than what the chart shows. And again, I would love to land to the north, but the wind is, let's double check that. Let's look at the wind again. I'm just gonna check that real quick before I hear the engine spool up. Let's go back to, let's see what we've got here. Okay, oops, here. Okay, we got it. We'll go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, winds are west southwest at 10. Yeah, just not gonna do it. A landing with a quartering tailwind, that's just not cool. Now, I know for a fact that what I've decided to do is the proper procedure. If, however, you have any kind of doubt, here's what you can do. Back to FlightAware. If you can, and if your computer can take it, open your browser, go to FlightAware's website, type in your destination, hit Flight Tracker, and you can see, and I'm sure many of you listening and watching this do this and might already do this, but as you'll see, why are we stopped at 22? Just looking at one thing here. Get return. Anyway, that's why if you click on that link that I just told you, after you select the airport that you want, you just click on Flight Tracker up in the, it's one of the tabs at the top. So you click on that, and then you'll be able to see a live, for lack of a better term, radar, and you'll see what's happening in the real world. Are they landing to the north-south, or are they landing to the west, are they landing to the east, so on and so forth. And that might help you make a determination as to what you need to do, as long as you are utilizing live weather in the sim. That is the big caveat there. You gotta be using live weather in order for that that assistance or that aid, if you will, to be correct and effective. All right. Let's look up here real quick. Looking right. Let's pull up our checklist here. Approach, barometric, yep, that's on, yes. Minimums, those are set. Auto brake to go. The length of the runway, let's just do auto brake 2. That should be sufficient. All right. And we're now ready for the landing checklist. Good to go. And as you can see, with this flight, we got lucky. We're now just below 18,000, and we did not have to change the altimeter. Like I said, that never happens, but in this case, it does. But that being said, let me just double check one more time, just in case the meter was updated. Just in case. Don't believe so. Oh, they did update it. Just, what time is it? They updated it just a couple minutes ago. Alright, literally 2 minutes ago. Alright. Altimeter now is 2993. Alright. And that's really not enough to move the standby in hectopascals 1013. If I mean the altimeter in inches, it went up by 1/100th. Negligible, really. It would barely move the peg, if you will. It would technically be 1013 decimal 5 or something like that. But we do know what we need to do. Let's see if this changed at all. It did change. Impressed. Well, their API call, that's some very, very good programming on their end. Meaning, when I say they, I mean FlyByWire. Very good on their behalf. Good job, everybody at FlyByWire. Really, really, really slick. I mean, yeah, you got the altimeter issue here, and the weather radar technically doesn't work. But I mean, there's a few other items, but yeah, it's just really great in my opinion. Let's reduce this a little bit. Yeah, leave it. Let's see here. How many? Okay. Let's see, we still got the speed brake open because we need it. Let's see, 12,000. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn on the landing lights here. Good to go with that. Let's see where terrain doesn't work, but you know what, that's alright. The whiskey compass, look at that, the whiskey compass works very, very well. If you look at it really close, look at that. Works very, very well. There's Mount Rainier right there. There it is. Beautiful sight. Too bad we got clouds up here. Otherwise, it'd be a magnificent view. One thing I want to note, recently in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, it literally only began happening about a week ago. I'm sorry, just a couple days ago. If you watched the previous episode of me flying the 737 MAX from Reno to San Francisco, you'll see on takeoff, the airplane all of a sudden, right at V1, and I do realize that this is a widely reported uh, problem with the sim, not FlyByWire, but Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. The one thing you'll notice, the aircraft seem to act very, they overreact to a slope on a runway. And if you want to know what that's all about, you can watch the previous episode. Again, just look for 737 MAX 8 Reno to San Francisco, and you're going to see it. And there's no way for you to know if it's going to happen or not. Let's move that down to. Let's get rid of discontinuity. Griffey after that. Huh. Alright, we'll do it this way. There we go. Let's pull it back. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what's going on. They claim it's a terrain problem. And now why is it doing this? This is not good. Not good at all. We should be going direct to Atlantic Kingdom. Where in the world is it taking us? Why are we so far off course? Not cool, guys. Not cool. Not good. Let's go direct. What did it do? Question is, what did it not do? I've never had that happen. What in the world is going on? Oxford. We flew over that already. Atlantic Kingdom. It's acting like we missed everything, which we did not. All I did was just, I got rid of this continuity, that's all. It's overriding everything. Jiminy Christmas. Let's go direct. That is really disheartening. Let's go. What is it wanting to do? It wants to go to Kingdom? Why? Why would it do that? That is, well, this is the first time that I've ever had it automatically inject the flight plan in from SimBrief. I won't be doing that again. I looked over the flight plan. There wasn't any overlap as there is now. Well, let's do this. COFA, off A to breathe. To Griffey. Are we going to repeat this stuff? No. We go direct that. Let's go direct. Let's get a better view here. Let's look at the whole thing here. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's see what happens. Direct to breathe. Hopefully it gives us the proper let's see how that works, how that looks here. That's what we want. Okay, where do we need to be if we want to go to nets? Where do we gotta be? 7,000. Let's just change that up to 7,000 even. No, let's not do that. Let's go 7,000 period at. Yeah. The double verification system, that is nice. Because if you do make a mistake, you can just quickly, it basically catches it for you. Alright, we need to be at brief 245 at 9,000. So let's, I thought I'd set this for lower, 4,000 feet. And it does act crazy. CST. We should be. I mean, it's set for a descent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's not descending like it should. Huh. 245 at. Alright, well, at 10. Huh. What about the next one here? Alright. Well, if anybody out there has been paying close attention, if you notice that I made a mistake, please let me know what that mistake was, as I would love to know what I did. Huh. How's our fuel going? 49 ton. Alright. Plenty of fuel. Plenty of fuel. Let's read that too steep approach input. Oh, it's gone. Alright. Let's make sure we're going in really, really slow. So I'm going to slow it up even way out here. I'm going to go, you know what, let's just do yeah, just need to do it at 200 period. We gotta go in real slow for this to work. Speed brake is still out for good reason. Very good reason. Alright, it's slowing down nicely. Alright, let's take the speed brake off. Let's see where it goes here. Now we don't need to arm it yet, but let's see exactly how it handles yeah, for my taste, it's just a little fast. There's 7,000. Can we see the airport yet? Let's move over to the FO's window real quick. I don't see it. There it is. Alright. Yep, I've got it. Does everybody else see the airport? Right there. That's where it is. Okay, back over to my seat. Alright. Well, sorry about that little overlap in the flight plan. Again, if someone knows exactly how I made a mistake, please drop me a comment, as I would love to know. The only theory that I have is back in San Francisco, before I began filming, I had to manually input the SID into the FMS out of San Francisco, and I might not have looked to see if it automatically entered the star as well. I just figured that the SID wasn't in there, the star wasn't in there either. So, but like I said, if I made a mistake, please let me know. I would sincerely appreciate that type of message. Alright, so continuing down to 6, we gotta go down to 3,002. So let's say 3,000. And then once we begin to pick up I'll turn on the landing system here. We'll really begin to slow it down. Okay, the next one is let's see, Griffey. Where is Griffey here? Griffey the next input. That's bizarre. So we reached the manual, the vectors for it. There's Griffey. Alright, we need to cross Griffey at 6. To me, that's just a little too close for comfort. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to wait and turn toward Griffey once the glide slope becomes active. We're just going to wait. Where's the sun coming in from? It's a little annoying. Does that help at all? I thought it did. I think it might have been helping a little bit. Guess not. I thought it was. It does work. It does help if the sun is coming directly in the window in your eyeballs. It does work well in that regard. Okay. The glide slope is still below us. On the landing system, on the backup as well. Another issue, if any of you cannot see things when I'm zoomed out, to me this is not zoomed out a lot, but I have a very, very big high def monitor, ultra wide screen, so if you can't see something, do let me know in a comment, and I will adjust that. I'll keep that in mind, and I'll make that adjustment from now on in all of the videos that I'll be doing from here on out. Alright, the glide slope is moving. 230 knots. That is just a bit slow. Okay, we're gonna make Griffey 200 actually. And it does not. It's got that red light, if you will, next to it. So that's a hard lock. It's not gonna change at all. Let me see if I can do one more thing to delete speed constraint. Let's see what that does. See if that works. So try 2 knots off of it. Alright. We can always go manual. That's not a problem. We should be right just a little past the Space Needle by this time. Way past Space Needle by this time. Alright, well, we're going to be turning here in a moment. Let's go direct Griffey. And we'll begin to do what we gotta do. Where is our... Yep. Yeah, it's the speed that I don't like. Let's go ahead and just go manual with speed. 200 is what I want. Because I know what this thing can do. It is not allowing me to change that at all. For those of you that are aware of Seattle, you know, just north of SeaTac, there is somewhat of a terrain issue. Wait, that's the runway right there. Because as you drop in over the downtown area, a little harbor, if you will, let's make this more direct. Okay. Yeah, I would really, really like it to acknowledge my manual input of 200 knots. Yeah, just won't do it. Will not do it. Magnum. That's not right. It was perfect before. It is no longer accepting my input. Alright. Arming the approach. Turn on the second autopilot. manual descent. That's all there is to it. So we can keep up with the glide slope. We should be coming in at 180 by this time. There's downtown, all that. Okay, let's do that doesn't want to do that, does it? It does not want to do that. Come on. Well, it won't allow me to adjust the vertical speed, and it will not allow me to set the speed that I want. Not good. Not good at all. Hopefully it'll intercept the localizer, and then it'll decide to intercept glide here. Flaps 1. Okay, there's the localizer. $141 is our target. Okay, flaps número 2. Por favor. Alright. Let's reset our go around for 4,000 feet. And 200 on the speed here. I'm sorry, 160. If it is reading my inputs whatsoever, I want 160 very, very badly. Okay, where are we now? Let's see if you can see the space needle real quick. I was right over here somewhere. Oh, there it is, right off the tail. On the back side of the tail. Alright, landing gear time. Let's watch these things come down. Alright, coming in over Boeing Field. Right there. Yeah, we need to be, yeah, parking brake. I don't know why they haven't fixed that glitch yet. I mean, that is such a basic thing to fix. Flaps 3, please. Spoilers are armed. And flaps set for landing here in just a minute. So our checklist should be good to go here. Seatbelt signs. Yep, landing gear down spoilers, flaps set. All good. Very good. Alright, what do we need to be at here? 141. Let's see if it'll do. I just want to see if it'll do a auto land. I've landed it manually and handles very well. Check. It is going to do an auto land. Let's see what it does. Cross your fingers. A landing. Continue, sorry, Airbus. Continue.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, retard.
That was bizarre, wasn't it? That was really bizarre. Like, okay. Interesting. Interesting way for it to come out of the grab angle. That was manual braking now. Yes, the autopilot is no longer on. Well, there we go, everybody. Welcome to Seattle, where it was 1 hour and 39 minutes, where the local time is 4:02 in the afternoon. Okay, we can take it slow here just a bit. I know we'll let the inboards go into reverse involuntarily, but what are you gonna do? Let's just get the APU up and running here. Looking good. Let's see if it wants to accelerate with with the inboards. Since we're gonna be crossing a runway, it's safe to operate reverse thrust. And we'll slow down just a little bit. Okay. Once we get clear the active air, we'll be able to disengage the ground spoilers and all that. Well, what'd you think? Pretty cool, huh? Say it again for freeware. It was just an amazing. It's an amazing thing that they've done. All right, let's slow down just a bit. And oh, flaps are still out. Okay. APU is up. Let's make sure we put the APU bleed on so that at least the air will be ready along with the electricity once we park. Let's see how fast. Let's see. I don't know why they're up. Huh. That's odd. Very, very odd. Oh, it has to do with the reverse thrust. Hmm. Let's double check the flight control. Oh, I see it showing us the brakes are a little on the warm side. Not much, really. Not much at all. Alright, I need to go to outside for this. So we get the center tire on the nose gear, I'm sorry. Right on the line, even though this gate does not. Oh yeah, it does has a taxi line. Yep. Like I said, if If you want to see this aircraft again, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to fly it again. I'd love to do a transoceanic with it. I think that would be a lot of fun. Okay, here's what they don't want, and that is reverse thrust at the gate. So I wonder what two engines I'm going to be turning off first, right? I wonder. Alright, that's good enough. Let's parking brake and get those two naughty inboard engines, get them to cut off. See what the reverse doors do. Okay, they close automatically because they know. That's fine. Now, if I'm missing something about that, please let me know. But to the best of my knowledge, I don't know of a workaround. Alright, those engines are off. And now shutting down 4 and 1. Looking good. Okay, beacon. We can turn off the seatbelt sign. Auto, that's fine. That goes off. Oh, lane light was still on. Okay. This goes off. So nav and auto on the logo. Yeah, that can actually go off. Everybody else. Let's turn off the fuel pumps, which there are many. Main and standby for every tank. Off, off, off. Off, off. Off, off, off. I would call for the jetway and or jet bridge. If you're old school like me, it's still a jetway. Okay. Well, for now, that's fine. Let's just see, just for kicks, let's see if we got the parking checklist done. Brakes, there are, yep, wing lights off, fuel pumps are off, yep. Securing, aircraft oxygen off, emergency lights, okay. Let's see, oxygen off, emergency lights off. Another, well, a better term is disarmed. What else? EFB's on battery. Okay, we'll let the next crew do their thing. So we're not gonna do a hard shutdown of the aircraft. Let's just see, just for kicks, if it'll do a jet bridge. Take that as a more time. Take that as a no. That's right. It wouldn't operate for me back in San Francisco. We will take ground power, and we will do baggage and catering. See how that works out. And get the fuel truck on the way. Alright. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this. I did, because it's the best, it's not even close. It is the best freeware, and I've been at it for a little while. It is the best freeware aircraft I think I've ever seen. It just, yeah, it has some things that need to be fixed, but compared to what comes with Microsoft Flight Sim that you pay for, it's not even a contest as to which one is better. Not even close. So with that, um, yeah, it's very very impressive jet, and if you want to give yourself a challenge and you'd like to graduate from flying smaller aircraft and you thought about getting something bigger, after you probably ought to get the other Airbuses down pat, like the A320 and the 330. Um, yeah, it's just a fantastic thing to do. So, again, I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. And please hit that subscribe button and give it a smash that thumbs up button as we're trying to grow the channel. And we will see all of you the next time. Hopefully, not too within it in just next couple, 2 or 3 days maybe. And plan on going around Puget Sound in a smaller aircraft, and then may hop back on this guy and fly somewhere that is really unique. So again, thank you very much for watching, and again, have a wonderful weekend, and take care. And as always, fly safe.